The 20-foot banner appeared overnight like a gift from the petty revenge gods. WLBROK states HOA rules. CT Hyon 4.2. No ban ERs, science, or DISPLA laters, vers IBLE, from the STREET, without word T and APRVAL, fluttered majestically of Karen's perfectly manicured front yard, attached between two mature oak trees with professional-grade rigging. Karen discovered it at 6:15 a.m. during her morning violation patrol. She stood frozen in her driveway, coffee mug trembling in her hand, as neighbors emerged from their houses like prairie dogs sensing drama. "Take it down," she screamed at the banner, as if sheer force of will could make it disappear. "This is a violation of Section 4.2, which is exactly what it says," called out Mike Thompson from across the street, wearing a satisfied grin and holding a professional camera. "I'm documenting this clear violation for the HOA board." The irony was so thick you could spread it on toast. Karen's face cycled through several shades of red before settling on something resembling a ripe tomato. She'd been caught in her own web of regulations, and half the neighborhood was gathering to watch her squirm. "You can't do this," she sputtered, but even as the words left her mouth, she knew Mike had done his homework. The banner was installed on the border between their properties, technically making it his responsibility. Dave emerged from their house, took one look at the spectacle, and did something Karen had never seen him do in their 15-year marriage. He started laughing. Not a polite chuckle, but a deep, genuine belly laugh that attracted even more neighbors. "Oh, Karen," he wheezed between laughs, "you've really done it now." For the first time in 2 years, Karen felt something she'd forgotten existed: embarrassment. Standing there in her bathrobe, surrounded by neighbors who were clearly enjoying her predicament, she realized how she must look to them, how she'd been looking to them for months. The banner stayed up for exactly 24 hours, the minimum time required for an HOA violation to be properly documented, according to Section 3.1. But in those 24 hours, something shifted in Maple Grove. Neighbors who'd been tiptoeing around their own yards, terrified of Karen's ruler and camera, suddenly seemed more relaxed. The Hendersons left their ocean breeze blue door as it was. The Patels added a second bird feeder. Tom Martinez let his grass grow to a rebellious 2.3 inches. Karen spent the day in her house, occasionally peeking through the blinds at the banner that had become a neighborhood tourist attraction. Several people had taken selfies with it. By evening, when Mike finally took it down, Karen had made a decision that surprised even herself. She walked across the street, knocked on his door, and when he answered, she said 5 words she hadn't used in 2 years. "I think we need to talk." Mike studied her face, seeing something different there, less rigid, more human. "All right," he said, stepping aside, "but I'm keeping the banner, just in case." As Karen walked into his house, she didn't notice the small group of neighbors watching from their windows, wondering if the Queen of Maple Grove was finally ready to abdicate her throne. But old habits die hard, and power, once tasted, is difficult to give up entirely. The real question was, had Karen learned her lesson, or was she simply plotting her comeback? Karen Westfield stood in her driveway at 6:47 a.m., measuring her neighbor's grass with an actual ruler while still wearing her bathrobe and fuzzy slippers. The blade that dared to reach 2.1 inches would be documented, photographed, and reported to the HOA board before her morning coffee grew cold. "Excuse me," she shrieked across the street, waving the ruler like a sword. "Your mailbox is 3 degrees off-center from regulation alignment." Tom Martinez, who'd been quietly retrieving his newspaper, nearly jumped out of his skin. This was the 3rd violation notice he'd received this week, and it was only Wednesday. But the most shocking moment came when Karen discovered the Hendersons had painted their front door a shade called Ocean Breeze Blue instead of the approved Coastal Morning Blue. The difference, barely perceptible to the human eye. But Karen had a paint chip collection that would make Benjamin Moore jealous. "This is a travesty," Karen declared to her husband Dave over breakfast, slapping down color samples like evidence in a murder trial. "If we let people paint their doors willy-nilly, what's next? Pink flamingos? Garden gnomes. Dave, who'd learned the art of selective hearing after 15 years of marriage, simply nodded and turned the page of his newspaper. Karen had transformed from a normal suburban mom into the self-appointed sheriff of Maple Grove over the past 2 years. It started innocently enough. She'd volunteered for the HOA board after Mrs. Chen moved away. But power, even the microscopic power of enforcing lawn height regulations, had corrupted her absolutely. Her weapon of choice wasn't a gun or harsh words. It was the Willowbrook Estates Homeowners Association Rulebook, a 47-page document she'd memorized cover to cover. She carried a laminated copy everywhere, ready to cite Section 12.3, about acceptable seasonal decorations, or Section 8.1, regarding trash receptacle positioning. "Dave, look at this mess," she said, pointing out their living room window. The Patel family had committed the ultimate sin. They'd installed a bird feeder without submitting the proper Form 27C for non-structural yard modifications. "It's a bird feeder, Karen," Dave mumbled. "It's chaos," she corrected him, already drafting a violation notice in her head. By noon, Karen had issued 6 citations, taken 43 photos of various infractions, and started a neighborhood group chat called Maintain Our Standards, where she posted daily reminders about proper hedge trimming techniques. The breaking point came when she discovered that Mike Thompson, the guy who lived 2 houses down, had been parking his work truck in his own driveway overnight. According to Section 15.2, c, commercial vehicles were prohibited from being visibly stored on residential property between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. "This ends today," Karen muttered, printing out a formal complaint letter to the HOA board, which, ironically, consisted of herself and 2 other neighbors who rarely attended meetings. What Karen didn't know was that Mike Thompson was a graphic designer who specialized in large format printing, and he was getting very, very tired of her constant harassment.